I finally got my PlayStation 5 moved into my little desk area where I have all my recording equipment. So I'm probably going to be a little bit more active on it. I'm actually practicing on Malenia right now.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a fun boss fight.
So right now on her, she's fine. I'm not too crazy about her first phase. It drags on a little bit too long. Um,
Yeah,
she's
especially when you're not trying to get hit, for sure.
yeah. Well, I mean, the whole her healing herself is not really a big deal because I mean, if I do get hit, it gives me more time to practice, and plus, in the end, it's not even going to matter because I'm going to eventually get it where I'm
Right.
not getting hit. But
Exactly.
with my playstyle, I'm the most satisfying strategy I've found so far is basically just kind of baiting her and going in, and she has this weird idling. Do you know what idling is?
Yeah, no, no, she won't attack you until you start doing something. She does that. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
see,
sometimes you'll last longer in the fight not engaging her than trying to attack her.
and a lot of her animations are very subtle. That's one thing I'm having to pay attention to because I'm like one charge move looks like another, and so I had to find very subtle tells. I'm like, okay, well I got to prepare myself for a certain charge attack because one for some reason that throws me off is when she prepares for a charge attack, and it's probably the most noticeable one is where she does the uppercut and then the vertical slam down. For some reason, that one throws me off every time. I want to walk up to her and avoid it, but it seems like right when I come out of my rolling animation, she gets me.
Yeah, no, that move, especially the beginning of it, like the actual initial hit for that, she can basically chain it out of anything. I've seen her do a full combo, and then it's like, okay, your combo is over, and then she'll turn around, do the uppercut, and then the slam down with the sword. I'm like, come on, you were done. There's no
Yeah,
way.
and as I'm practicing her, I'm having to cut down on attack motions basically because at first I was like, okay, well maybe I can get a second hit in, but now it's like, oh well, that's not consistent anymore, so I'm gonna just do one hit at a time, and it's not so far not really my favorite fight I've seen in Elden Ring. I mean, it's not that as difficult. It's just kind of it's really just more of an annoying design in my opinion.
Yeah, I think for the most part, the main thing that everybody hated for the longest time was the waterfowl dance. That was
That's actually
that
not that
just
bad.
killed more
Um,
people than
it
anything else in the game.
it is very problematic. If you're up against the wall of the arena and she starts doing it, you're screwed. However,
Yeah.
if you have enough room to run and you time it well enough, you can just basically run away, and whenever she does her little hop with it, you can just run towards her, and then she'll just finish off, and then you can just continue on your way. But the problem with it, she might do it multiple times, and the positioning might not be in your favor. So there's definitely a
Yeah.
lot of RNG with the positioning, unfortunately, and that's one of the biggest problems I have about her because you basically just got to keep practicing and hope that your positioning falls in favor of that attack alone.
Yeah, a lot of people were having trouble because they had to basically rely on either getting lucky with that move or they have to spend the whole fight preparing for that move. Like in their mind, because you don't know when it's coming out. She could literally do it at the beginning as soon as she
Hmm.
starts the fight, And just people are literally playing the whole fight in the back of their head, preparing for that specific move,
Yeah.
making sure they're not in any position that's disadvantageous for that. So it definitely is not the most fun fight,
Yeah.
especially for like somebody who's fighting it for the first few times. But man, is it satisfying when you do defeat her.
Yeah, and I haven't gotten to the second phase yet. I'm just still practicing the first phase a lot, and really, like I said, it's just the bad positioning of the waterfowl attack is what usually gets me. And sometimes she has this one. I think she has 4 different charge attacks, and I'm still trying to adapt to the outcome of them. Like one charge attack is really fast. She'll dash towards you and spam you. Now that spacing is very much involved with that one. Is where I had to basically, if she starts attacking with you start using her basic attacks, I know she's probably going to most likely use it, so I got to just keep my distance basically, and hope that she uses one of the charge attacks that I like to follow up on, like the the thrust or the jump sweep. And my favorite one to follow up on, which allows me for a full charge R2 attack, which is her uppercut and vertical slam. And I think that's the only
Yeah.
one where I can do an R2 attack. I don't know. I'll have to play around with the waterfowl outcome more. I might be able to squeeze in a R2 attack if I'm able to position myself close enough, because I'm using the now Knight Cavalry's halberd. I think that's what it's
Yeah, I
called.
know you like that weapon. I was gonna tell you sometimes, maybe if you if you're interested in switching up your weapon playstyle, a faster weapon actually does really, really well against her. Because as much as she seems like she has armor, she does not have armor. So you could basically get a few hits in or a full combo in. And she has two types of hyper armor that kind of lets her escape your attacks and then try to go in for a counter attack. Heavy weapons are good. Obviously, you get your one or two hits in, and then you prepare for the next attack. But with quick weapons, you can actually do a series of attacks to her, and then as soon as she hyper armor counters, so that she tries to run away from your attacks and then reposition into a counter attack. That's when you basically go into defensive mode and try to dodge her attacks. So at that point, if you're using a fast attack, you're the one controlling the fight rather than waiting for her to give you an opening. You basically sort of create your own openings.
Well, doesn't she have a
I don't
bad cancel, like like basically a stagger cancel? Like if you stagger her and you try to go in for another stagger, she could cancel out of it immediately and tag you.
Yeah, she can cancel out of it. Usually what she does, she'll cancel out of it and then backsteps. So she'll basically retreat to try to go in for a counterattack afterwards. But that sort of gives you that mental check that says, "Oh, okay, she just counter rolled away. That means now I need to go into defensive mode because she's about to counterattack." And then it's basically like a free tell that she's about to do something.
Is it just me, or does she remind you of Ornstein a little bit, like a more advanced version of Ornstein?
Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. You can tell that From Software had some inspiration from their previous boss fights. A little bit of Ornstein, a little bit of what you call her from Bloodborne,
Maria.
Maria from Bloodborne.
Well,
Um,
there's a lot of subtle tells with Malenia, like like her backstepping and her side strafing, and some of her attacks, can feel very similar to Ornstein. The only thing missing, from Ornstein is just the waterfowl attack and I mean,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, even the charge attacks from Ornstein are very similar. I mean, I don't know, maybe I haven't looked up the right forums or not, but I haven't seen anyone else compare the two.
I haven't seen anything on that either. You're right. Um, but second phase is honestly more of the first phase. The only two differences, I don't know if you care about spoilers or not.
I don't care.
Okay, so the only two differences is now she has Scarlet Rot added onto her attacks, and she does a couple of Scarlet Rot AoE attacks. And she also has this one move where she uses sort of shadow clones, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
that attack before her, and then she finishes off the combo of the shadow clones. It's an interesting design, but it's actually pretty hard to dodge. So many people die to that, probably as much as waterfowl, believe it or not. And she can still do waterfowl, so
Oh, okay.
it's
Yeah.
like she becomes a little too much, honestly.
So the second phase isn't like more satisfying. It's just just a little bit more annoying.
It's a little bit more annoying, but she's a cooler fight. I think second phase definitely redeems the first phase in terms of how the first phase sort of makes you feel like it's a little bit more boring. Sometimes she's very very defensive. She's not gonna go on the attack. You kind of have to bait her into attacking you. Whereas in second phase, she is all attack. So it's a lot easier for you to predict her because she's very aggressive in second phase.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but also she's just because she's so aggressive, if you're not good at dodging and you're not good at reading what she's doing, it could be like you'll probably die quicker, essentially.
Okay. And my problem is, her first phase can get really boring by the first half. When I get that, when I get her down to her to half of her health, I feel like the fight should be over by then, and it just keeps going. I got another half of health to deal with, and it's not that bad. It's just I daydream really badly if I'm just kind of doing the same thing for too long. And it's kind of one
Yeah,
thing I
no.
suffer from because one thing, one reason why I stayed away from doing solo level 1 playthroughs for a while because I was like, man, I just don't want to have to do 10-minute boss battles because just doing the same thing for too long, I'm just going to start thinking about Legos or other games. I mean, it's something I do involuntarily. I mean, I start daydreaming if I start getting bored.
Yeah, well, second phase is definitely not as boring as first phase. First phase, she is very much, in counter attack mode. She'll be aggressive once in a while, but for the most part, she's in counter attack mode. She's waiting for you to do something so that she can counter you.
Yeah.
But in second phase, it's very much she is aggressive and she's coming at you, and you need to know how to dodge her, how to counterattack her. And she has a little bit of armor, not a lot, but she actually does have a little bit of armor. It won't matter for your weapon type, but if you were using a quick weapon in first phase where you were staggering her on every hit, on second phase you won't stagger her on every hit, and that
Hmm.
trips some people up, and they'll get hit at that point.
Okay. I imagine it's just gonna be a little grind. I'm just probably just gonna have to, do a few hours of practicing at her, and then just kind of walk away, and then come back until I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's just, slept on it.
Yeah,
So,
no, I think so. Yes, if you're trying to get the no hit, it's definitely gonna take a little bit of practice and work.